Summer is fast approaching, and I think it's time we took a little bit of stress out of our lives, isn't it? With HelloFresh UK, you can get all the ingredients and inspiration you need to make your meal times and your cooking experience simpler than ever. HelloFresh provides a number of recipes and meals to make your life as easy as possible and also caters to a wide range of different dietary requirements. Use my special discount to get 50% off your first order plus 35% off the next three and 3 free gifts as well. What more could you ask for? Check out the discount link or the checkout code down in the description below. The Championship playoffs are here, my team Luton Town are involved, and there are two very tasty ties on the way as 4 teams battle it out for a place at Wembley and a place in the Premier League. Welcome along to Championship playoff semi-final, first leg predictions. It is Luton Town, Middlesbrough, Coventry City and Sunderland who are fighting out to join Burnley and Sheffield United in a place for the Premier League. It's of course slightly different to the League One predictions we had yesterday. You can find them in the eye above, because there isn't a team that really feels unfortunate to have missed out on automatic promotion. There certainly were sides who snuck in on the final day though. We'll talk a bit more about that in a minute. Very quickly before that though, as well as the League One predictions yesterday, it is a very busy week on the channel. We've got the National League playoff final predictions tomorrow as Notts County and Chesterfield look to return to the Football League. And the League 2 playoff semi-final predictions start on Friday. So make sure you don't miss any of that. It's the hectic favourite part of the season for neutral football fans. But I'm not one of them this weekend, which is why I'm a little bit nervous. Before we go and focus on the playoff predictions though, we've got to have a quick recap of what happened on Monday. My predictions, well, outcome-wise, they were excellent. 7 correct outcomes out of 12. But unfortunately, I did not get the playoff ones right, as much as it looked like I might have at half-time. And I also didn't win the match day. 7 points for me, and my overall prediction ruined by that bizarre second half between Millwall and Blackburn. And to be fair, down in the comments, a few of you called that spot on. Gordon, big shout out to you. You won the match day with 9 points. And you even told us that Blackburn were going to win at Millwall and Sunderland would pip them to the playoffs. That has secured my team Luton Town's fate for next weekend, as we will be going to the Stadium of Light. And then elsewhere, W&G fan, you beat me for the 3rd week in a row. 8 points for you, and a perfect score in the first game between Birmingham and Sheffield United was the crucial factor for you in that one. I should give Tony a shout out as well. Although you didn't beat my overall score, you did get more perfect scores than me, because you called Burnley 3, Cardiff 0 right. So well done everyone who got involved there. Feel free to do the same this weekend and get your predictions down in the comments for the playoff semi-finals. And I am a very nervous man, because it is Sunderland versus my club Luton Town. It is a cracking game in prospect too. We've got a team who are 10 unbeaten against a team who are 14 unbeaten. Teams that have drawn both of their league games against each other this season, who are both unfortunate not to win their away games respectively. Luton were curtailed by a very late penalty, a dodgy one against Sunderland, and Sunderland dominated the second half at Kenilworth Road and probably should have won that in a league game. 11 points separated them. Luton have been wrapped up in 3rd for a few weeks and they've made changes to the squad during games. They basically rotated the full team against Hull and they got people a rest, which Sunderland obviously didn't have the luxury of. We've seen with the playoffs before, there's no right or wrong way, it just depends on the day. For Sunderland, they snuck in on the final day at the expense of Millwall, who really did throw it away from the jaws of victory. But a 3-0 win for Sunderland at Preston, the perfect way to wrap up a playoff place and a stunning away second half performance. And that leads me on to where I think this tie is going to be settled. Because if we look at the final Championship table this year and the top 11 teams in the division all the way down to Watford, there are 2 teams that have got more points away from home than they have at home this season, Sunderland and Luton Town. I have got a feeling that away performances are going to decide this, or you could argue conversely that who can stay the most solid at home is going to decide this. Luton's home record has improved under Rob Edwards and that will be a crucial factor next week. But Sunderland are so good on the road, so does that change their approach for the first leg? Do they think, well, a draw and we're in this? Sunderland have got recent experience of the playoffs. Of course, they came up from League One last year via the same route, albeit under a decent manager. And what a job Tony Mowbray has done since taking over in late August. Same could be said for Rob Edwards at Luton, who has taken them to the next level aggressively after the good job done by Nathan Jones prior. And both sides, as we mentioned, are in brilliant form. Luton have conceded the least away goals in the division this year. 18 in 23 games is a stunning effort. Tom Lockyer at centre-half in the Championship Team of the Year. And they are going to work to be very resolute defensively. It's a very different away strategy these two sides have, despite being incredibly successful. For Sunderland, it's all about scoring goals. For Luton Town, it is all about defending and keeping clean sheets. You really do feel that Luton have to get something away at the Stadium of Light. I know it's going to be rocking under the lights at Kenilworth Road, but Sunderland don't get beaten heavily away from home too often. For Luton, they do like a 1-1 draw, but they also love a 1-0 win on the road. It's been their favourite scoreline away from home for 2 or 3 years now. They've managed to rest their front two, get them fresh, they get through so much work, and the wing-backs got a bit of a breather as well. Great to see a few players getting minutes last week or two, which does give them options in the squad with returning defenders. People like Henry Lansbury getting minutes after a long layoff. How crucial is that experience going to be? For Sunderland at home this season, you've had a real mixed bag. They've actually got a bottom 9 record when it comes to their home form. 9 draws, which again is just swaying my prediction because I'm looking at 1-1 or 1-0 and I'm thinking, well, Sunderland 33 scored, 33 against. Complete opposite to Luton, who are so resolute away from home. What on earth do you go for? It is a classic championship, I don't know. I don't know if I let my heart rule my head here. I really want a trip to Wembley, but if I predict it, I'm almost on the superstition of us less likely to have it. But I'm going to go for what I think is going to happen. I think Luton are going to sit deep. They're going to frustrate Sunderland. Sunderland will try and get their advantage in the second leg. And as long as Sunderland are in the tie, they've not lost by more than 1, for example, I think they'll be pretty happy going to Kenilworth Road. We know how good they are away. They always score goals on the road. I'm going to go for Luton to nick this one away from home. I'm going to go for the classic 1-0 away win, which is what it would have been a few weeks ago if it wasn't for the dodgy late penalty. I'm going to go for Luton to nick it 1-0 away from home. Don't be fooled here, Sunderland fans. I'm not saying this tie's over. I actually think you're more of a threat on the road, and I think the evidence proves that this year. I do think Luton nick the away leg. I think both sides are going to be the better team away from home. And it comes down to which defence can do its job at their home stadium. And I do wonder if Luton being at home under the lights in midweek maybe might be the advantage. But for this leg, I'm going 1-0 to Luton. And it's going to be all in the balance as we go to Kenilworth Road on Tuesday. Let's move on to one I'm not so emotionally invested in though. And it's going to make it easier to predict, I think. It is Coventry City versus Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough have been absolutely flying under Michael Carrick, albeit they did rest a few people in the last weeks of the season. What's interesting about this one, though, is Coventry, who are always very strong at home, who have had the good news of extending their deal at the CBS now, is that these two played each other on the final day of the season and played out a 1-1 draw. Now, of course, for Middlesbrough, they had an eye on the playoffs. Coventry, it was just a must-not-lose game, and it was sort of reflected in the way they set up. But Coventry love a late goal at home, and they love a late win at home. It's been a hallmark of them in the last 2 or 3 years. And they're another club under Mark Robins, one of the few managers who's been able to keep his job long term in the Championship, who continue to build and continue to progress every season. I kind of look at them, and I've said this many times before, in the way I've looked at Luton's rise in recent years. Came up from League One a year after, survived the first year, mid-table the second, playoffs the third. Will they be higher in the playoffs next year? Or will they already be a Premier League side? We'll wait and see. For Middlesbrough, I think everyone has them as the favourites for the playoffs. The way they've played under Michael Carrick, their attacking threat, their squad depth, which is by far the most superior of the 4 teams here. And if Carrick had been in charge at the start of the season and they've been in this form, let's be honest, they'd probably have been in a race for the top 2. As it is now, all focus goes on the playoffs. Everyone's fancying a Luton-Middlesbrough final. I don't think it's going to be that easy. Coventry at home are a very good side, and these two sides, in complete contrast to the last game, are both far better at home. Middlesbrough only behind the top 2 in home record, and that's after a dodgy start under Chris Wilder. 13 wins, 46 goals. They're averaging 2 a game at the Riverside. For Coventry, bundles of draws away from home, very narrow goal difference, and I think that might be the difference this year. Can Coventry get a big enough win to keep a rampant Middlesbrough at bay at the Riverside? Again, midweek under the lights, that ground will be rocking. They have got to get an advantage in this first leg. I think they will get one, because Middlesbrough have shown signs away from home in recent weeks. I watched them at Luton a few weeks ago. They weren't at their best, albeit they were resting a few. And it's a bit of a gamble from Michael Carrick rotating this squad. It's a new experience for him, and I don't know if it will be the right decision. Ultimately, in complete contrast to the last tie, it is going to come down to home performances and home results. And for this one, I do think Coventry will nick their win at home, but I don't think that's going to tell the story of the tie overall. I'm going to go for Coventry to nick this by 2-1. I think Middlesbrough at home, they'll be happy if they've only got a 1-goal deficit to overturn. And Coventry come into this in brilliant form. 6 unbeaten for them, scoring goals in every single game. And Middlesbrough, just a shaky few weeks. I think it will take them a little while to get up to speed, but they will come back strong for the second leg, and it's still going to be all to play for. So 2-1 to Coventry City. Let's have a quick recap then of what I've predicted for the semi-final first legs in the Championship. I've gone for my club Luton Town to nick a 1-0 win away at Sunderland, but will that be enough given Sunderland's away record this year? And conversely, I've gone for a 2-1 Coventry win at home to Middlesbrough on Sunday lunchtime, but will that be enough given Middlesbrough's home form under Michael Carrick? Let me know your predictions down in the comments. Do you agree or disagree with my ones for this weekend? Who do you think will be going to Wembley? Let me know down in the comments. And what do you think the scores will be on Saturday and Sunday? If you do better than me, of course, as always, you will get a shout out in the next recap, which will be for the second legs later this weekend. I hope you're looking forward to that. If your sides are involved, I hope you do well. Although if you're a Sunderland fan, I'm sorry. I hope you can accept my bias this time. As I mentioned earlier on, League One predictions came yesterday. You can find those in the eye above. The National League final tomorrow. We've got the League Two playoff semi-final predictions Friday. And then we're back again on Sunday to start all the second legs again. I hope you're looking forward to those. If you did enjoy this one, please do chuck a thumbs up on the video. If you want to stay up to date with a hectic month on the channel, subscribe and turn that notification bell on. A quick shout out to our brand partners HelloFresh UK and NordVPN. You can find links to both of those in the description below. And we'll be back here in a few days' time. Thank you for watching as always. We'll see you for the second leg predictions on Sunday.